Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Session 2 of our Domestic Violence Survivor Empowerment Series. Now, the last time we spoke, we talked about the 5 tips to overcoming depression after abuse, and I hope that you guys had an opportunity to review your notes, to go back to and listen to the recording and really gain something from that session. So today, we're going to be talking about financial empowerment. And we have a guest expert with us tonight that's going to share some keys to achieving financial empowerment after abuse. But before we get started, I just want to tell you a little bit about the Still Standing Foundation if this is your first time joining us. We are a nonprofit organization that focuses on empowering victims of domestic violence to become survivors. And so our main focus is to really take the victim or the survivor and take her out of the mindset of being a victim so that she can walk into her purpose of being a survivor. And we have different programs, financial empowerment, overcoming low self-confidence, just to name a few. And so what we're doing now with our monthly calls, this is our monthly domestic violence empowerment series. So we have a series going on right now. And each month we discuss a different topic. And as I stated earlier, last month we talked about overcoming depression after abuse. And tonight we'll be talking about rebuilding your finances. Right now, everybody's phone is on mute. If you have a question or a comment, we ask that you would save it until the end of the call. Or you can shoot an email to info@thestillstandingfoundation.org or inbox us on our Facebook page, the Still Standing Foundation, if you have a question or a comment. If you actually want to speak, like I said, towards the end of the call, you'll dial *69, and that will take you off mute, and you can go ahead and ask your question. So again, tonight we are discussing financial abuse and how to achieve financial empowerment after abuse. Very, very important topic. And just to share a little bit about myself, I am the founder of the Still Standing Foundation. I'm also a survivor of domestic violence, which is where my passion comes from as it relates to domestic violence awareness. And economic abuse is a major factor in abusive relationships. In fact, economic abuse occurs in 98% of abusive relationships, so that's a lot. In 98% of abusive relationships, economic abuse is occurring. Every day, survivors of domestic violence face complex economic barriers while trying to leave their abusers and gain when trying to establish a new life for themselves and their children. So we know that it is very, very difficult to leave a domestic violence relationship because of finances. And so that's one of the many reasons why women end up going back to their abusers, because it's just very, very difficult. And for many survivors, these barriers prevent them from reaching their goals of safety and stability. It also keeps them from leaving the relationship, or like I said earlier, it forces them to return to their abuser. And it also leads to long-term financial problems, which eventually, it'll impact their health and their well-being. Now, like I said earlier, I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and I remember being afraid to leave my abuser because he was the breadwinner. He pretty much paid most of the bills. The majority of our money was held in his bank account. And once I decided to leave, I experienced so many hardships. It was just one of the most difficult things that I ever had to go through. Just to tell you a little bit about some of the stuff I dealt with, I was evicted 3 times in 1 year. 3 times in 1 year. I had acquired over $2,000 in that 1 year in insufficient funds, bank fees from overdraft fees. So over $2,000 worth of overdraft fees in 1 year. My car was repossessed. I didn't have enough money to feed my children. And there were even times when I had to steal, and not saying that this is the right thing to do, but I had to steal my coworkers' lunches from the break room in order to take that food home to feed my children. So I know firsthand what it's like to struggle financially after you leave your abuser. So there were times where I thought to myself, I'm going to have to just go back. Like I literally thought I'm going to have to go back to this relationship so that my kids don't have to suffer. Thank God I didn't have to do that. It took me about 3 years to literally rebuild my finances after getting out of that relationship. It took me 3 years to bounce back financially and to reach a place of stability. And I actually had to file bankruptcy in order to really get to that place where, my bills and everything was stable. And so that is a little bit of my story. Tonight, I have a very special guest that's going to talk to us about achieving financial empowerment after abuse. And her philosophy is simple. Wealth is a mindset. Shynna is a voice for financial and business empowerment. She's an author. Actually, she's a brand new author of the book titled Wealth is a Mindset. She's a speaker, financial and business empowerment coach, and she's tailored a powerful movement dedicated to building your empire. Shynna provides an outlet for the ones in a financial struggle to shed the shame and lack of financial and business knowledge. She is a charitable mentor, a fanatical and visionary leader while improving others' financial status by aiding with building multiple streams of income and credit, just to name a few. Also, Shynna is also known as the financial fanatic, and she believes that with her empowerment, you will begin to love your financial relationship. So, Shynna, I wanted to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule for such a very important cause as this. So, Shynna, go ahead. I'm going to let you take over. You're the professional. I wish I knew you 6 years ago when I was going through my issues, trying to rebuild my finances after abuse. But thank God we have you now to talk to those ladies that are on the call tonight. So, Shynna, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Greetings, everyone. I just say again, I am Shynna Key, and I am also a survivor of domestic violence myself, which was in an abusive marriage, then just to end up in another abusive relationship. But best believe for sure I was able to leave the abusive relationship much faster than I left the first abusive experience. And I must say, since I've paid attention to the red flags early on now, and good enough to not have entered into another abusive relationship, today I am proudly remarried. So for my personal experience I am sharing, my keys, tips, and tricks for gaining a money mindset after an abusive relationship, I'm here to tell you today firsthand. Number 1, don't let your financial struggles while you're rebuilding your empire make you return back to your abuser. Once you have gained the courage and the power to leave, keep moving. Keep moving forward and don't look back. Keep your emotions and money separate. Remember, mind over money. You may not get another chance to leave again with the gift of life. So that's first and foremost.
Okay, Shynna, I'm sorry,
yes?
Shynna. Can you go back really quickly? You said don't let your financial struggles allow you to go back to your abuser. And what did you say after that? I'm trying to take notes so that I can send out a recap. So what was the second thing you said after don't allow your financial struggles to allow you to go back to your abuser?
Okay. The second thing I said was once you have gained the courage and the power to leave, keep moving forward. Do not look back.
That's good.
Again,
okay.
I can't say that enough. I can't, because so many times people think that they have a second chance to do it over again, and maybe to do it better the next time. No, that is not the case. You may not get another chance to leave again with the gift of life. You made it out safely. Thank God. Do not test them again. God gave you that escape plan. You got out. Stay out. Mind over money. So, but number 2, if your ex have knowledge of or access of your passwords, social security number, credit card statements, or other identifying information, it will be a good idea to take measures to keep your personal information safe by first closing any joint bank accounts and credit cards, and for sure, put a security freeze on your credit report so that your ex can't continue to use your Social Security number. My third tip, access your free credit report by visiting www.annualcreditreport.com, which, now let me mention, I have, let's see, in my book, Wealth is a Mindset, which is Chapter 9. It talks about how credit works in Chapter 9 of my book, Wealth is a Mindset. Now, if your abuser ruined your credit score, check out the Federal Trade Commission Consumer Response Center by visiting www.ftc.gov. And for more information on marital debt, visit www.womenslaw.org. And for encouragement to keep it going, www.wife.org. These resources here help you because sometimes you can get, some debt that was occurred between you and your abuser. You can get it erased, eliminated without having you taking on the responsibility. And your attorney, if you went through the divorce already or going through the divorce, they can help you with that, making sure that your abuser gets his share of the debt and it's not all left on you. And number 4, you may want to consider opening your own checking account and applying for your own credit card if you haven't done so already, in order to start rebuilding your own credit history. Now, 5, downgrade whatever aspects of your lifestyle that you can't compromise on, such as downgrade to a smaller house now that you left your abuser. If you have a gas guzzler or a high-end vehicle, trade it in for something a little more economical. That will help with your finances. Number 6, rewrite your will and change your beneficiaries on your insurance policies. Some people tend to kind of forget about that, but make sure you do that. That's very important. And 7, update your budget and your short-term and long-term financial goals. You may want to also consider now selling anything that will simply remind you of your ex, your abusive relationship. Sell it. Get rid of it. Don't try to hold on to anything. Just remember, there's no looking back. So go through all your items, go through the house, sell things, get rid of it. You don't want anything to remind you of that abuser. Remember, you're still standing. So you're standing alone. You did it on your own. You got out on your own. You did it. So, and just to add, if you would like to get in tune and more information about the Healthy Families Act, now that's an act which allows victims of domestic violence, sexual abuse, and stalking for more job security with paid days off to allow you time to prepare for a safety exit without fear of losing your job while doing so. So you can please contact legislation at hrc.org. And that is to stay in tune, stay connected, because it hasn't passed yet, and they're working on it. So for me, I want to say continue to build your empire. You're still standing. Keep it moving. And for more empowerment on financials, you can get your copy of Wealth is a Mindset. Things that I have mentioned is in that book there. It is at Amazon, www.amazon.com, and other retail outlets. Again, I'm Shynna Key, and I'm empowering you to build your empire after your abusive relationship. Thank you so much, Tamiko. Thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, you can reach me at info@shynnakey.com. Now, I know that's not so common, so I'm going to spell that for you. ShynnaKey.com. info@ShynnaKey.com. You can also reach me at www.ShynnaKey.com. Thank you, ladies.
Okay, Shynna, that was some really great information. So you gave us about 7 different things to consider as it relates to rebuilding our finances after abuse. And one of the things that you said was to sell anything that reminds you of your ex, and that's really a great way to get some extra money in, and also a great way to kind of just purge and to release that soul tie from your ex. I know I had some very expensive items, Tiffany necklaces and like Louis Vuitton handbags. I sold all that stuff. You wouldn't believe the amount of money that I made on eBay just by selling that stuff on eBay. So I absolutely agree with you. So anything that reminds you of your ex, most definitely.
Yeah.
What else did you say? There was a couple of things that you said. Marital debt, www.womenslaw.org. Can you just tell me a little bit about what they provide? I know a lot of people walk away with marital debt. We walked away with, I think once we split it up, it was like $30,000 a piece. What exactly does that organization offer? Do you know offhand?
Now, www.wife.org, that is more of like a supportive site that kind of gives you the ins and outs and other resources that help with domestic violence and being a wife going through divorce. So that's a resource outlet as well. Womenslaw.org, that site there is the one that helps you with the women's law regarding to like marital debt and things in that nature with abusive relationships.
Okay.
So
I think that's a great... Mm-hmm.
Yes. So that's that website. Now, when you talk about like marital debt and making sure, like to try to see if, you know, the debt can go on your abusive relationship, your abuser credit report and stuff like that, that's the www.ftc.gov website. And they can help. That's Federal Trade Commission Consumer Response Center.
Okay. I think that's very good information right there. I know one of the things that my ex was supposed to do was pay the car note on one of the trucks that he bought me, and he failed to do that, and then it got repossessed. And, you know, at that time I had no idea what the law was. I just kind of let it go. But listening to you, I kind of, there was more that I could have done, you know, to prevent me from having all those repossessions and all that type of stuff on my credit report. So that was definitely some good information. If you're on the line and you have a question, dial *69, and we will go ahead and unmute your line so that you can either ask myself a question or Shynna Key. Again, if you have a question or a comment, dial *69.
Yes, please. I welcome questions. Please ask us questions. Questions are definitely welcome.
One of the other things that Shynna said was, do not allow your financial struggles to allow you to go back to your abuser. And that's one of the things that typically happens when financial abuse is a part of the relationship, or when it's very, very difficult for you to rebuild your life after abuse. A lot of times we just want to go back and give up and say, you know what, I can't do this, I need to go back. Don't, you know, if you don't have to, please don't go back. And that was one of the things that I was faced with. You know, I was like, I'm out here struggling. I'm going to work to get my food out the break room to feed my children. Like, it really got tough. And one of the things that I did, and what Shynna said was to do, because I had 2 children, and I was looking for a 3-bedroom, and like I told you guys earlier, I got evicted 3 times in 1 year. I had to literally get 1 bedroom, and we all slept in that same room. I allowed my kids, some nights I gave them the bed, and I slept on the couch. And so that's how I was able to start to rebuild my finances slowly. I downsized. That was one of the things that Shynna said to do. It was you know, you would think it's going to be uncomfortable. Let me tell you, I was more at peace in that one-bedroom apartment with my 2 babies than I was in our 7-bedroom mini mansion. I mean, there's nothing like peace of mind. So if you have to downsize. If you have to sell stuff that your abuser gave you, sell it. I can't stress that enough. Shynna, do you have any other comments or anything to say about that?
Definitely. I would definitely say, like, at times there's a time in your life when you have to start thinking with your head versus your heart. At that time, when you're going through things like that, I must say, please forgive me, but throw your heart away. You know, you have to start thinking with your mind and not your heart. Your heart, a lot of times, will keep you trapped, keep you kind of contemplating back and forth, or shall I, or I think he could change, or, you know, maybe if we can get help. Let me tell you, once they start, they don't stop. And they sorry actually means, sorry, baby, come on back, let me hit you again. Let me do it again. Sorry, baby, come on back, let me do it again. So that's what they sorry really mean. So you can't believe they sorry and just keep your mind over money. You have to get out. It's no turning back. It's really no hope. I personally think there's no hope for abusers. Like, I would think, like, okay, well, maybe you guys did a lot of things together, and maybe y'all built together, and you might think, like, oh, well, if I leave and he get with someone else, he'll probably start doing right by them and do the things that we have built together. No, that is not the case. Please believe if he go on to the next relationship, he's going to eventually start doing the same thing to the next person. Please believe. I used to think that was love, but it's not. If a man is that possessive over you or beating on you and treating you like a child, and you may have gave him children. In my instance, I gave him a child. I gave him a couple. I was like, maybe he needs some children. Let me give him some children. He'll stop doing this to me. And no, that's not the case. It's not love. Wake up. Snap out. Stand on your 2 feet. Keep it moving. So please.
And again, if you have any questions or comments, dial *69. Anything related to financial or economic abuse is what we're talking about tonight. So if questions or comments, dial *69. Don't be shy. You don't have to say your name. We'll just unmute the line, and we will let you speak. If you have any type of questions as it relates to this, and just to piggyback off of a few things that Shynna said, I'm going to go back and just read some of the notes that I took. So some of the things that she said, again, don't let your financial struggles allow you to go back to your abuser. Once you have gained the courage and power to leave, keep moving forward. Do not look back. Think mind over money, okay? If your ex-abuser has knowledge of your passwords, make sure you take the measures to keep all that personal information safe. You can also put a security freeze on your credit report. Access your free credit report at www.annualcreditreport.com. And there are certain things that you can actually get erased and eliminated off of your credit report due to an abusive relationship. So there are so many resources out there that were not out there in the past that can definitely help us out. And so, again, I'm going to give you guys one more opportunity. *69 if you have any questions or comments. If not, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the call tonight. One thing I do want to read to you that I found some other information on domestic abuse as it relates to finances. And it says here, work on rehabilitating your credit score. You may have to settle for a credit card with a high APR until enough time has passed. Shynna, what do you think about that? Getting a credit card with a high APR rate until time passes to rebuild your credit score.
I think that is sometimes perfect. I think that is perfectly fine. If you have to start somewhere. So of course, if you're rebuilding your credit, you have to start with a high APR card. You can also try to get a secured card and go that route. But you have to. And within 6 months, you call them. credit card holder and you ask them, can I get my APR lowered? So sometimes, like within 6 months, you can go ahead and get a lower APR after you made, good payment history on time and things like that. So, yeah, nothing's wrong with that. Remember, you have to start somewhere. Go for it.
Okay. And thank you for that. And thank you for all of the information that you shared with us tonight. And you've already given your website, your book, Wealth is a Mindset. She has some very valuable information in that book, Wealth is a Mindset. And next month in July, we're actually going to talk about generational curses. And I'm going to bring in another special guest next week. Her name is Matrina Dorsey, and she's going to share information about generational curses, because we know a lot of times when we're in these domestic violence relationships and we go through things in life, typically it's because of something we've seen in the past. And it's a generational curse, and it's something that we have to learn how to break. We can't allow these generational curses to keep going on from generation to generation. And as we prepare for that call, what I want you to do is really think about your domestic violence relationship, and do you believe that you are affected by a generational curse? So really think about that and think about how you can break that curse. So again, Shynna, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We didn't have any questions, and that's okay. If you have a question after you get off the call, shoot me an email at info@thestillstandingfoundation.org. And we'll be sending out a follow-up email with all the information that we talked about tonight. And thank you guys so much for joining us. Have an amazing evening.
Yes, thank you. And thank you again, Tamiko, for having me.
Thank you.
Good night.